Guys, if you love s'mores and brownies, stick around because today I'm going to show you how to combine the two to make the best dessert. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Myra from Low Carb Love, and today we are making s'mores brownies that are low carb, gluten-free, and super delicious. So we're gonna make the crust, which is low carb and gluten-free, then the brownie batter, and of course, we're gonna finish it off with sugar-free marshmallows. So all together, it's just gonna be a combination of s'mores and brownies, and it's just gonna be the perfect dessert. Guys, and before we get started, make sure that you're subscribed to my channel, and don't forget to turn your post notifications on so that you don't miss any of my future videos. All right, guys, so I don't know how many of you ate s'mores growing up, but that's definitely one of the memories I have from my childhood when my family would get together and we'd be like roasting our little s'mores. I've been living a low carb lifestyle for so long that I cannot remember the last time I had like a legit s'mores. So the first thing we're gonna get started with, which is super important for s'mores, is the graham cracker. So we have our almond flour. We're gonna toss in our cinnamon, sprinkle that right in. Then we have our sweetener, and I'm using allulose. Now I'll leave everything that I'm using linked in the description below for you, just so you know which brands and just everything that I'm using. It just makes it easier for you guys, so you have access to everything that I use. And then we have our melted butter. And now we're just gonna give this a good mix. And this is how our crust is gonna come together. It's basically gonna resemble like wet sand. That's the texture that you want. So don't think that you need to add more butter. You don't. This is gonna be more than enough. What we're gonna do is grab our baking dish, and then we're also gonna line it with parchment paper, okay? So once it looks like this, let me show you the texture right now. So this is basically what you're looking for. This is what we call like wet sand texture. So it might seem a little dry right now, but this is perfect, okay? So now let's grab our dish and let's press this right in. All right, guys, so we have our pan and then we have our parchment. I'm gonna spray a little oil. This is just my little trick to help keep the parchment paper in place. So, if I don't spray the oil, it goes all over the place. So we don't want that. We want things to be nice and neat. Okay, so now we're gonna pour in our crust. Now we're just gonna go ahead and press it in. So you can press it in with your hand. So this is all personal preference. If you like a nice thick crust when you're biting into it, then you would just double the recipe. If not, this is gonna be nice and thin, and when you bite into it, you're gonna get kind of like a combination of the cracker and the brownie and the marshmallow. So it really just depends. Some people like a really thick crust, like a really thick cookie. Some people don't. So it really just depends on what you like, okay? All right, guys, so our crust is all pressed in. I ended up doubling my crust because I felt like it was gonna be a little too thin. But if you have a much smaller dish, then you would probably just wanna use the single serving. Again, I doubled my crust to get a nice thick crust like this. So I think it's gonna be perfect for exactly for what we're making. I think because it's gonna be a nice thick layer of crust, a nice thick layer of brownie, and then with our marshmallows. So we're gonna set this aside. Let's work on our brownie batter, and then we're gonna get these babies into the oven. All right, guys, now for our brownie batter, this is my favorite brownie recipe, okay? So I have a few, I'm not gonna lie, I have a few brownie recipes on the channel, but this one right here is my favorite. It's just the closest to a traditional fudgy brownie, okay? And that is needed for this recipe, guys. So the only thing that I did not have on hand was Dutch processed cocoa powder. So I will leave my favorite in the description below so that you know which one I absolutely love to use. But today we do have just some unsweetened cocoa powder that we are gonna use for this recipe. So we have our almond flour. We're just gonna toss everything into the bowl. I'm telling you, these recipes are so easy to make. Toss in your cocoa powder, okay? Our sweetener, a little baking powder. Let's give that a good mix before we add in our liquids. I always like to mix our dry ingredients. I feel like it's a little safer. You make sure that everything is well distributed, especially that baking powder. You want that distributed well. I mean, it's still gonna work even if you don't do it, but because at the end of the day, everything gets mixed together. But I don't know, it's just a thing. It's just a thing for me. mix all the dry. Let's add in the, and now let's add in the wet. So we have our eggs. Okay. So we add in our eggs and now our melted butter. So that is how easy it is to make brownies, guys. Throw everything right into your bowl, mix it together. I feel like sometimes certain recipes can be a little intimidating, but once you start messing around in the kitchen, you just realize how easy it is to really make all desserts, all meals. It's really just following directions. So if you have not tried any of my recipes yet, this one here is one of my favorite. The brownies are just, they just taste so delicious. You would never know they're low carb. You can eat them. If you make the brownies alone, then you can just eat it with a little ice cream. I mean, today's recipe is just really fun because who doesn't like s'mores? But if you are a brownie fan, then this one right here is going to, yeah, you're just gonna love it. So let me know if you've made it. Comment down below once you make this recipe. Let everyone know how it turned out. I always love to see your guys' comments, especially after you make it. And just, yeah, I like seeing that you guys enjoy these recipes. So this is what it's gonna look like. So you can see the texture, nice and thick. Look at that. Ooh. Okay, and this is gonna go right over our crust. Okay, so we have our crust. We are gonna top our graham cracker with our brownie batter. Let's go ahead and pour that right in. Like that. Make sure you get every last little bit. And then we will evenly spread. All right, guys, so if you've never seen brownie s'mores, stick around so you can see how amazing these turn out. Let's go ahead and just spread our batter. Okay, now just make sure that your oven is preheated to 350 degrees, so 350. You don't want to finish all this up and then have to wait for your oven to preheat. So 350, we're gonna cook this about 90% of the way, so we're gonna do about 20 minutes, and then we're gonna finish off with our marshmallows, okay? So I'm gonna show you what it's gonna look like before we top it with our marshmallows, but let's get this baby in for about 20 minutes. All right, guys, so while our brownies are in the oven, I wanna take a moment to give Seed a special thank you for sponsoring this part of the video. Now, this is Seed's DS1 Symbiotic. It's a probiotic and prebiotic in one, so it's a capsule within a capsule that actually makes it all the way down into your colon. It feeds all the gut bacteria that needs to be fed down there. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but 70% of our immune system lives in our gut. So before I started taking Seed, I was dealing with dry skin patches all over my body. My hair was falling out. I was getting bloated after I ate, just dealing with inflammation. So if you guys are dealing with any of those symptoms, it definitely has something to do with your gut. Now, I've made some lifestyle changes as well, but I've been taking Seed now for 2 years. It has made a world of a difference. Really, on top of just keeping me regular, I know TMI, but it's the truth. It has really just helped overall. It's helped my body overall, which I absolutely love. So if you don't have a probiotic and prebiotic that you love and trust, I'm gonna go ahead and leave a link in the description below. All right, guys, cheers. All right, now let's go ahead and check on our brownies. All right, guys, so this is what your brownies are gonna look like. Cooked about 90% of the way. They pretty much look done. And now we're just gonna do the final step, which is adding all of our marshmallows. Now, I'm using my sugar-free marshmallows, and I will leave them linked in the description below, but you can use your marshmallows of choice, okay? And this is just gonna make sure that this entire dish is super, super low carb and still tastes super delish. So this is what it's gonna look like. We're gonna get these babies right back in and cook for the remainder of the time. And then, guys, I cannot wait to show you how these turn out. All right, so our marshmallows are placed very nice and neatly. Now let's get it back in for about 10 minutes and we're gonna dig right in. All right, guys, so look at how fluffy these turned out. Our s'mores brownies are about to knock your socks off. I'm telling you. All right, guys, so I let these cool, but I feel like they need to cool a little bit more because the marshmallows are still a little warm. So they are still nice and gooey. So we're gonna let it cool before we cut into it. All right, guys, so we've let our brownies completely cool, and now we're just gonna cut right in. Now we are dealing with marshmallows, so I'm gonna spray a little bit of oil on my knife just so that it doesn't get stuck, hopefully. Okay, and at this point, it is all about personal preference. Like, are you trying to, you know, are we trying to do portion control? I'm thinking I'm gonna try to get about 16 slices from this, but that. I am so excited to dig into this. I'm gonna attempt to do it with a pizza cutter. It might just be a lot easier and smoother. Guys, look at this here. You see the layers there? All right, guys, so look at this little beauty. It is perfect. You can see the layers perfectly. You have the graham cracker, you have the brownie, and then your marshmallow layer. It's just, it's really just the perfect combination of a brownie and a s'mores. This is it. If you love both, you have to make these. Go try them, come back, comment down below, and let me know what you think. Let's go ahead and taste. Oh yeah. Wow. I am legit gonna have this for dessert later tonight, just with a glass of milk. Yummy. All right, guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and leave this recipe in the description below. If you like this video and this idea, make sure you hit that like button, and don't forget to turn your post notifications on so that you don't miss any of my future videos just like this. Guys, if you have friends and family that are living a low carb lifestyle or just trying to make healthier choices in their life, make sure you share the channel with them as well. Thanks so much for being here. I love you, and I will see you on my next video. Mwah.